Hello friends, welcome to another video. Today is a review of Gild by Raven Kennedy. It is book 1 of the Plated Prisoner series. It's kind of hard to see the little details on the cover there. There's like a little background. It's kind of nice. There's a little cage on the back because she is the Plated Prisoner. I got this copy from my library, from the Kindale Library here in Stephenville. If you live in Newfoundland, you can get this book from your library. The other 2 books are not in the system yet. I think it's a little too new. I will read the description for you. It is a retelling of Midas, or a reimagining of the story of King Midas. Gold. Gold floors, gold walls, gold furniture, gold clothes. In High Bell, in King Midas's castle, built into the frozen mountains, everything is made of gold, even me. This compelling story is inspired by the myth of King Midas. The gilded world of Aurea will grip you from the very first page and show the dark side of greed through the eyes of the woman he gold touched. Romantic intrigue and danger, this immersive adult fantasy series is as addictive as it is unexpected. This one definitely has some triggers in it if people are iffy about certain things. It does have dark elements, including a lot of violence and non-consensual sex. I would say that it is explicit in details, not so much for the non-consensual stuff. The consensual sex, there it is a lot more explicit, as it is definitely adult, 18 plus, 16 plus if you are more mature, for sure. It is definitely a unique twist on the King Midas myth, legend, story. If you're unfamiliar with the King Midas story, it is about a guy who makes a wish and everything he touches can turn to gold. And of course, he ends up losing the things he loves most because he can't touch his family, he can't touch people. Now, obviously, this one, she says she's gold, and she is. She's golded. She's gilded, that's why I guess it's called Gild. But she's still human. Like, she's still supple, her skin is still soft, she can still move around, her hair still grows, things like that. She's like a living statue. I'm unsure how that works. Her name, the main character, is Auren, A-U-R-E-N, Auren. And then Tyndall Midas is King Midas. And his wife, I cannot remember her name, I didn't write it down. The enemy king at the moment, King Rot, because his power is to turn things to rot, whereas King Midas, he turns things to gold. His King Rot's main commander is Commander Rip. And now Auren, in this book, they call the harem saddles because you ride them. I know that's a little cliche, but it's different. I've never heard them called saddles before. So he has his royal saddles, and Auren is his favorite royal saddle. But because she's been gilded, she doesn't live with the rest of them. She lives in her own special caged off area, but it's basically one whole floor of castle, and she can walk back and forth, but she's still behind a cage by herself, protected. And he says that it's for her protection. A couple of the other saddles who potentially become friends, I guess they're his other 2 top favorite, is Rissa and Polly, and they seem to have a little bit more of a role in this story. The first book is very world building, very character building, very plot building. We never actually have any description of King Midas turning anything into gold in this book. I don't know if he does that later or not. We'll have to see. some people have magic and some people don't, and you have to have magic to be a ruler. And there's also a legend about having a bridge to a magical world where the Fae live, and that they, a long time ago, they used to be friends, and that's how magic came into the world. But the bridge has since been destroyed. Commander Rip is one of these people. I You don't really find it out to the end of the book, but I don't really consider that a spoiler because it's still book one and there's still a lot to go. There was definitely surprises in here because they don't actually mention any of this stuff until after we've been introduced to Commander Rip. So him being a Fae was like a complete shock to me. I had no idea that was coming, even though I knew that there was magic in the world. It's a completely made up world, obviously. There's a map at the beginning. I love books with maps. I love books with maps. Let me see if I can put the map up for you guys so you can see that. Nice map of the world. And it's kind of backwards because they live down here. This is where where the capital of where King Midas is from. And this is the north. The bottom is the north. Or what we consider the north, where it's the coldest. And there's snow all the time. So it's a little confusing because I'm used to the north being the other way around. That's okay. I didn't see any plot holes yet. There is some contention in my head. Obviously, so Auron loves Midas. They were friends before he became king, and he kept her with him. He loved her. He says he loves her. But the whole story is from her point of view in first person, except for the very last chapters from King Midas's point of view, and it's just a little afterward kind of thing. But anyway, I don't really know King Midas's intentions or what kind of character he has, just what Auron feels about him. So she feels that he's a good guy, and we want him to be a good guy. But I don't know if he is her endgame, and I don't know if I want him to be her endgame yet. I'm not sure. I kind of wish maybe she finds somebody else and falls in love with somebody new. I don't know. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I was completely surprised by a lot of things, so I didn't find anything very predictable. The King Midas story that I know is just a very short thing, so having it expanded into a 4-book series, there's a lot more detail you can throw in there. So yeah, there was a lot of surprises that I was not expecting at all. It's a lot more complicated than I thought originally. Some twists thrown in that I wasn't expecting. Especially right at the end, you're like, oh my god, what's going on here? Definitely romance. I haven't like I said, I don't know if she ends up officially with King Midas or if it's if there's somebody else involved. I don't know yet. We will have to see. It has been compared to, for people who are fans of like Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer L. Armentrout. I would also consider it for people fans of Holly Black. I'd put it in that category for sure. I really love the descriptions in the book. I felt, because they're right now anyway, they're in a very cold climate, lots of snow, and I felt that. I felt immersed in the book when they're talking about the weather and being outside. They're sort of in a battle, like a war with the other. I didn't know if you actually read the map when I showed it to you, but there's different kingdoms, and they're supposed to be all at peace. But there's about to be, there's a war starting. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know how I'm going to get the other books since the library doesn't have them. I'm probably going to have to buy them. So it might be a bit before I get to the rest of the series. But when I do, I'll put the links in the description box below so you guys can check out the next books, because I do want to finish reading the series. I found it ended on a cliffhanger, but not so much that I wasn't expecting it. It's the kind of cliffhanger you would expect at the end of a first book of a series. It's not even a trilogy. I believe there's 4 books. So it is a bit of a cliffhanger, but not so much that I'm absolutely dying and I need to go buy the next book right now. I'll be okay until I get the next book. Definitely a cliffhanger. With lots of questions. So many questions. But I did like it. I would rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. It exceeded my expectations, especially for when it was advertised as a King Midas story. I was not knowing what to expect at all. So it definitely exceeded my expectations. It had great writing. The plot is engaging and interesting and complicated. The characters are complicated and relatable. How did I forget that word? I use it in every review. Complicated and relatable. Definitely emotionally moving. There's some sad parts, some laugh out loud parts. Definitely a page turner. Since I have to buy the rest of the books to read them, I may or may not reread them. I may give them away or gift them. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. It's the kind of story that I would probably like to reread, though. Again, if I don't have the time to reread it, that's out of my hands. But anyway, I would definitely recommend it. Yeah. I feel like I just sort of rambled. Didn't know how to wrap that up completely. But yeah. Gild by Raven Kennedy. Good, interesting story. Check it out. And keep your eye out for the next videos when I get them. They'll be coming. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. And I will see you in the next video.